Liam Rossenior became the first Chelsea manager to win his first competitive game for the Blues since Maurizio Sarri. The Blues romped to a 5-1 win over Charlton to move into the fourth round of the FA Cup. Sign up for the Chelsea newsletter. Thank you. Jorrel Hato scored a belter as Chelsea won 5-1 against CharltonCredit, Getty. Marc Guiu was also on target as the Blues progressed to round fourCredit, AFP. A medical emergency in the crowd briefly curtailed a buzzing atmosphere at the Valley after just 10 minutes, as both teams looked for an opener. Chelsea dominated possession in the first half and finally found that opener when Jorrel Hato smashed home 2 minutes before the break. It was another unlikely scorer who doubled the Blues' lead, as Tosin Adarabioyo headed home from a free kick on the right side. Charlton did find a way back into the game, through former Chelsea boy Miles Leaburn, who spoke to Sunsport in the week about his time at the club as a youngster. Read more on Chelsea, but they weren't in it for long, as Marc Guiu tapped home from close range shortly after. Pedro Neto and Enzo Fernandez added late goals for the Blues, with the score ending up at 5-1. This is how Sunsport Chelsea reporter Lloyd Canfield rated the Blues, Philip Jorgensen 5. Chelsea's second-choice keeper was trusted in between the sticks as he was against Manchester City last weekend. The Dane wasn't overly busy, as expected in this kind of tie, but was still beaten by former Chelsea boy Miles Leaburn when he was called upon. Most read in football. Best free bets and betting sign-up offers. Josh Ikeampong 7. Stepped into tackles really well on the right side of Chelsea's defense, and often looked to play the ball forward to Jamie Gittins, rather than sideways or backwards. Was really composed on the ball, and came close to opening the scoring in the first half, always offering himself as an option in attacking areas. Tosin Adarabioyo 7. 2 starts in a row for Tosin would suggest Rossenior's idea of giving everyone a clean slate is accurate, after he was exiled under Enzo Maresca. He was the better of the Chelsea centre-backs in this game without a doubt, often winning the physical battle against Miles Leaburn. Capped off a strong defensive showing with a towering header from a free kick to give the Blues some breathing room. Benoit Badiashile 3 picked up an early, needless yellow card, which saw the Frenchman walk most of the game on a tightrope. The £35 million signing from Monaco didn't even look as though he had an answer for the Charlton attack, who are 19th in the championship. Benoit Badiashile was clumsy against CharltonCredit, AFP. Jorrel Hato 8. Played a very advanced role, as the 19-year-old defender channeled his inner Marcos Alonso at the Valley. Was solid defensively, and headed a decent chance over the crossbar when play resumed after a medical emergency in the crowd. But he made amends for that miss with a scorcher of a volley past the Charlton goalkeeper 2 minutes before half-time. Jorrel Hato has had a great start to life under Liam Rossenior. Credit. Getty. Moises Caicedo 6. New boss Rossenior claimed Moises Caicedo is the best midfielder in the world ahead of this game. It wasn't quite a performance that proved that sentiment true, but he did look a composed figure in the Blues midfield and was involved in the build-up to Hato's opener. Hardly put a foot wrong all game. Andre Santos 6. Saw plenty of the ball in the Chelsea midfield, but had a tough time breaking the lines when Charlton often had 10 players behind the ball. is expected to have an increased role under ROSENIOR, with whom he worked at Strasbourg to a very high level, and often kept play ticking nicely in this one. Far from anything groundbreaking, but a solid midfield showing. Santos broke play up well when needed. Credit, Alamy. Jamie Gittins 6. Was deployed on the right wing rather than in his preferred position on the left-hand side, where he can cut in and shoot. Looked Chelsea's most creative player in the first half, easily, driving at his man down the right in a fearless manner and getting crosses in the box. Tried a few shots from range that troubled the keeper, but not to much avail. Facundo Buonanotte 6. Needed to be the one to play the incisive balls into Chelsea's forward line, but the opposition's approach again made that difficult. Showed a few neat touches and will be pleased with his free kick assist for Chelsea's second goal, which was delivered nicely into the near post, as well as his shot being rebounded out for Guiu to add a third. Didn't exactly rip up any trees, but given how much he has played this season, it's hard to expect greatness. Alejandro Garnacho 3. Didn't look up to the challenge of Charlton away, and failed to really create any meaningful opportunities from the left-hand side. His touch was poor, and so was his end product when he did manage to bring the ball down. Not good enough. Marc Guiu 6. Was a physical presence up front for the Blues, a mold ROSENIOR seems to prefer to the likes of João Pedro, with Delap starting the last two games. He was a danger in the box physically and made the most of a rare chance that fell to his feet, finishing a loose goalkeeper parry into the back of the net to give Chelsea some safety in the second half. Marc Guiu scored from close range for the Blues to make it 3-1. Credit, Shutterstock editorial. Subs. ESTEVAO, Jamie Gittins, 66, 6. As he often did under Maresca, instantly looked a threat when he was introduced from the bench. Tested the Charlton keeper on 2 occasions and was unlucky not to score. Liam Delap, Marc Guiu, 69, 4. Spurned one chance wide of the post after coming on, having scored his first Premier League goal against Fulham in midweek. Enzo Fernandez, Facundo Buonanotte, 69, 7. Looked a level above most after being introduced, with a few really nice passes, one of which set up Pedro Neto for Chelsea's fourth. Netted a penalty with the last kick of the game to make it 5-1. Wesley Fofana, Jorrel Hato, 84, 5. Didn't have much to do after being introduced. Pedro Neto, Alejandro Garnacho, 84, 7. Came on and made more of an impact than the man he replaced. Recommended stories. In all honesty, the amount of fog over the valley meant I could hardly see his finish, but having watched the replay, it was a fantastic right-footed strike into the near post. Can't argue with what he produced in such limited minutes.